So the idea for drones in the dome really started with my frustration at not really having a place to fly during the winter months. You get one of these wet, you get snow on them, and it's kind of an issue. And so I looked at the Kibby Dome and I was like, you know what? That's a huge stadium, much like the ones that are used by the National Drone Racing League that they have right now. That's just rapidly growing. And so I said, if I could get enough interest, enough of a passion of students who would like to fly drones in the dome, then we could actually get something going. And so, I kind of started looking at my resources and figured that Rob Anderson was the guy to talk to over in the Dome, director of the University Sports Services. And he said, you know what, we've actually been wanting to do this for a long time. We just haven't had anyone approach it with us. Where I'd ultimately like it to go, and I think would be really exciting, as I mentioned earlier, was the Bechtel Drone Racing League, which is one of the fastest growing motor sports in the nation right now, Bechtel Drone Racing. And so that's the FPV, which is first person view setup, which I have my goggles here, and that kind of allows me to become the drone. It's about the closest thing to Star Wars pod racing that you can get to. The idea as it exists right now is, hey, let's get some ground rules out there. Let's get drones in the dome first of all. Show people that with ground rules, with safety precautions, these aren't as dangerous as people make them out to be. And the Kibby Dome, being kind of more of a controlled environment, seems like the perfect place for that. You have the room, you have the infrastructure, you can kind of move around, you can station people out far enough away from each other that you're not going to have these collisions, and you get some ground rules in there. Why couldn't you start a student club? And then from the student club, you can get funding, you can get backing, and you can kind of go anywhere from that. I mean, it's like NASCAR in the air, especially kind of at these speeds. The government and then the university have both cracked down pretty hard on drone usage. It's kind of one of those instances where you have a few people that kind of ruin it for the large majority of people. Either they're going places they shouldn't go, they're running into people, they're using the cameras on board the drone for incorrect purposes. And so while I personally haven't run into any big issues myself, the issues are definitely there. But if you have them in a controlled environment like the Kibby Dome, you can kind of cut down on some of those restrictions because you have a controlled space. They actually now have they're kind of, think of like an invisible wall where you can set parameters that you can pre-program that the unit, so in this case the drone, will actually recognize, and as soon as it gets close to that, it'll actually automatically steer away, or it'll just automatically shut down and fall out of the sky, kind of depending on what you want to do. I think if you tell pretty much anyone that, hey, for not a whole lot of money, you can control something that's in the sky, that's going at, many miles an hour, and then you can kind of put yourself in the driver's seat. It's an adrenaline rush. Especially for, people like roller coasters, people who like, watching these really high action movies like Star Wars and stuff. I mean, now this is the closest thing you can get to flying, a jet, or, for all the Star Wars fans out there, an X-Wing fighter. I mean, you are in the pilot seat, you are seeing what the drone sees. And so I guess what I would say for people who are trying to get into it is, it's getting cheaper all the time. It's really fun. There are practical applications for it as well. They're starting to use drones for agriculture, for crop dusting, for search and rescue, I just read earlier today, for delivering even like blood bags to remote locations where you cannot get in by foot or any other means. I mean, the opportunities really are limitless. And so I guess off of drone racing, if you learn how to operate one of these drones and you learn how to do it well, you can put that on your resume. You can say, I am a registered drone pilot. I can do this. And so it also creates job opportunities too, which I think is another really cool route that drones go.